Welcome. This is Happy Childless Mindset Podcast. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Sandra.
Lovely to be with you here today. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on and tell my story. So, really appreciate that.
I really appreciate you are here as a guest and you are champion of the year for you are people's champion of the year for World or China's World Week.
It's quite a
I'm
phrase, isn't it?
sorry. Yeah,
The
I
World
think
Childless
so.
Week People Champion. Yeah, that's me
Yeah,
this year.
it's
So,
so
yeah.
long that
But yeah, I know. But it's such a privilege to have been voted by people of our community as making a difference in their lives. So yeah, really pleased with whoever. Stephanie's always keeps all the details confidential as to who voted for who or whatever. So, but still, if anybody happens to be watching this who voted for me, thank you. So
Well,
yeah.
tell me how you came to this champion award.
So, so maybe I start at the beginning a little bit with my story because it all kind of
Yeah,
leads in. And World Childless Week for me was a key part of my story in a way. So it was where, things started to heal and yeah, go on a different path. So I always thought I'd be a mother. One of my first early memories was I think I must have been maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I was saying to a friend, "Oh, I'm not going to be a young mum. I'm going to wait till I'm 25." So when you're 5 years old,
yeah,
25 is like
25 is
so old.
completely.
So I'm going to wait till I'm 25 and then I'm going to have two children. So
I, I,
yeah.
s- I wanted the opposite. My mom had me at 32, so I
Uh-huh.
wanted to be a young mom. For me, it
Okay.
was like 25, but I was really young. So it's
Mm-mm.
it's crazy how we see things when
A
we are
different
little.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even if basically, if you break into that statement alone, I had a belief that I could choose to become a mother and I could choose the timing of it. And I had this kind of interjection from the world as well, don't get caught too soon. So, there's even in that little phrase, there's so much in there. But let's not go in there because that's probably a different podcast. But yeah, basically from a young age, I thought that I would become a mother, or I thought I had a choice to become a mother, even more so important. But life had different plans for me. I met my first partner when I was 16 and stayed with him until I was 29. And I just felt it wasn't the right relationship. I felt too young, get that whole thing of enjoy life before settling down. That really felt applicable to me. But at 29, we separated, and then I became single. And I really struggled to find my life partner, somebody who wanted the same goals as me, somebody who wanted to have children. So pretty much from 29 through to 39, I was single. So I wasn't completely single. I had little relationships here and there and things, but nothing serious to bring children into, let's say. By the time I got to maybe 32, 33, I really had the desire I am to really have children.
Mm.
Um, and I waited until I was 36. Despite my Scottish accent, I live in Barcelona in Spain for 17 years now. So Barcelona is one of these kind of fertility hubs in a way where people come to do fertility treatments. So I decided when I was 36, I would freeze my eggs, and, to guarantee that then I could have children. So I got lucky. At 39, I met a very handsome Spanish guy who then we fell in love, and he also wanted children, or was open to having children, let's say. He didn't have such a strong sense as me, but he wanted to
Yeah, it
to
wasn't
have.
the definitive, no, I don't want kids, that's on
No.
you.
He
And
he
yeah,
wanted he wanted to have children. No, he
yeah.
was open to. He didn't think it would happen for him, but once he met me, and basically he was, yeah, he was open to it. So we got married, we moved in, we got married, all of that type of stuff. And it seemed like the dream was going to come true because at 42 years old, so at 39, we met, and at 42, I was pregnant naturally. And I was like, whoa. So we got married, we got the house, and yeah, everything just looked like it was going to be the fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
Um, so unfortunately, that pregnancy ended at 11 weeks in a miscarriage. So I don't really like the word miscarriage. But yeah, basically, I had a pregnancy loss, a baby loss. And oh yeah, that kind of shattered my world in a way.
Yeah.
Because my before we were starting sort of type thing, you were saying that your mum had you a bit older. My gran had my mum at 40. So, I somehow, obviously, I thought there was a time limit because I'd frozen my eggs, but still, I didn't think it was possible for me to have a pregnancy loss. I didn't think that that was going to happen to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was then, kind of like the start of oof, maybe this might not happen. 6 months later, I had a second pregnancy loss again. So I got pregnant naturally and I lost the second baby too. And then we left like a year to heal. And during that year, I retrained to become a coach. You were asking me before we started a little bit, what did I do?
Yeah.
So at that stage, I retrained as a coach, but not with any plans of doing anything with it. I just really wanted to do something fun and purposeful or something for me. I felt so down with the pregnancy losses and all of that type of stuff. It was something fulfilling and interesting to do.
Yeah, I
Um,
studied coach for the same reason.
yeah, so it
I have
wasn't.
anxiety and agoraphobia, and traditional therapy wasn't helping me because either I had
Mhm.
to talk about my past or is so focused on the conduct and not the root of the problem that
Yeah.
I found in coaching that I a lot of tools for asking myself questions and pursue my happiness
Hmm.
and not like keep bringing again the anxiety and
Yep.
so I get you like
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
me it was a game changer.
Yep. 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 So for me too, and the way I entered into it, everybody in class was saying, "Okay, I'm here because I'm going to do this type of coaching." I, I'm here because I want to have fun and do something interesting. And when you're open to those type of things, you learn in a different way. There's no
Yeah,
stress. There's no like, hey, well, I'm just here for fulfillment and to enjoy something. So yeah, basically there. Um, One of my teachers did a really, I don't know if you've heard of constellations, but he did a
yeah,
constellation with
I
me
did.
where I could, it was an opportunity for anybody who doesn't know what constellations are. For me, it was an opportunity to really say goodbye to my children in a way, to basically we don't have ceremonies and such like. So for baby losses or pregnancy losses. So there it felt like a really key moment and a really key moment for my healing in some way. So after that, I felt like, okay, I feel like I've healed a bit. I feel a little bit lighter. Let's try with the IVF because I had the frozen eggs and I was
Yeah,
36. Froze them. So, let's see, yeah. But unfortunately, I didn't. We had 12 frozen eggs and we had one viable egg at the end of it and or viable embryo and it didn't result in pregnancy. So in November 2019, I became permanently childless, not by choice. My husband and I had spoke around, continuing with, donor eggs or doing adoption or those type of things. And the short story is we decided that those weren't options for us. So, that was it. The door was closed. There was still a possibility. I was then 44. There was still a possibility I could get pregnant naturally, but the likelihood is it would result in a loss, and that didn't happen
yeah,
in the end.
yeah.
So
I'm about to turn 43 now in the January the 4th, February the 4th, and I know that I'm not the ship hasn't completely sailed,
yeah.
but pregnancy lost and a lot of pregnancy troubles like disabilities, or I don't know how
Yeah.
you say in English, the no brain anencephalia, you know how it's.
It could be chromosome problems with the child or
Yeah,
different. So,
and I don't want to like subject a child to that. And I
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if I'm prepared to cope with that also
yeah,
because of
yeah,
my mental history, you know.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
I embrace my childlessness.
yeah. Mm-mm.
So I get
We,
you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, basically at that stage it was November 2019, 4 months ahead of a pandemic, but nobody knew that a pandemic was coming.
Yeah.
And one of my passions in life is travel. So the minute we got that phone call from the doctor saying we weren't pregnant, my husband said to me, "Okay, how do I save her? How do I get her back out there again?" And he was like, "Okay, let's do a trip." So we went to Hong Kong and the Philippines, and we did this amazing trip. But the challenge was you take your grief with you. So I remember
Yeah.
sitting on these beautiful beaches in the Philippines and just feeling kind of like empty in some way, trying to make the most of the trip, but still feeling like this deep sadness
Yeah.
in some way.
There's no
So then,
escaping yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then, basically I had learned in a way that from my pregnancy losses and going through coaching, I had a coach by my side helping me go prepare for the IVF and, make sure that then I was getting some support. But she was a mother. And, still when she would encourage me to look at other alternatives and things such as adoption or, like, okay, you've spoken up about this now, let's speak about another
Yeah.
topic. And I didn't really feel like I had a space for my grief in a way. Um, and I tried to find different people. I found another coach who didn't have children, but by choice. And
And it's
it
not the
just
same.
it wasn't a match for me
Yeah.
either. Yes, so I felt quite lost for about a year, to be honest. And then I found, as you started at the beginning, World Childless Week. So I just Googled randomly around 1 year later. It was October 2020. So World Childless Week had just happened. So when I Googled childless, non-mother. I don't know what I Googled because
I
you
di
don't know what it's
That
called
happened
at
to
that
me
moment
too.
in
I
time.
didn't know
Yeah,
the word childless, and I
yeah,
didn't know what was happening to me. Like,
yeah.
why are you sad or angry, or not angry at the pregnant woman, but at my life, at
Life.
my
Yep. Yeah, yeah,
inability. So when I found the word childless, it was like something click on my head. And I
yeah.
know that that's the less part, but
Yeah.
for me, such an empowering word because
Mm.
I found my people. I found that I was not alone. I
Excellent.
found out that I am not a bad person for having these feelings that are not the societally accepted, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I'm there with you, you know. I started like randomly, why
Mm-mm-mm.
do I get sad when I see a pregnant woman? You
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah. You don't know what to Google to start with. I think it took
Yeah,
quite a few days and then yeah. But yeah, that piece that you were saying that during almost that year, I really wanted to jump towards happiness. It was like, okay, there's so many benefits of not having children,
yeah,
travel, concerts, whatever. I don't know. I was trying to jump there and just avoid the
the grief.
sadness in a way.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, it kept bubbling up. It kept bubbling up and saying, listen to me in some way. So this day I was Googling, I found World Childless Week, and I remember watching a video. Um, it was, yeah, basically, yeah, the people were speaking on the video about, being at a barbecue and being asked questions about having children and this, and I was like, oh my God, this is me. This is like these people are me. Is then so seeing that webinar was really useful. But we were in the middle of the pandemic. We were all stuck at home. This was October 2020. So from World Childless Week, I found kind of all the groups that are on Facebook. And then from there, I said, I found the groups really triggering to start with because people were
yeah,
speaking about that then I hadn't thought of. So, people were like, hey, will we do a Zoom or something like that? We're all stuck at home. And I was like, I'll organise a Zoom. So I organised a Zoom. And this was actually the start of me then, start of my personal healing, but also the start of, some communities that I've led since then. So my communities became born in a way, which then, yeah, I don't know if that's the correct word to use, but born
Yeah.
from my own grief, and really meeting other people who were also childless, not by choice, on a weekly or every 2 weeks, and kind of doing a grief circle together where I could share my grief and they could share theirs. Just felt so healing for me. It felt like it was the beginning of kind of my healing. Um, about 6 months in, I think it was. Was it then that year or was it the year after? I'm trying to remember the exact time. But anyway, at some stage, my husband decided that he was going to have a vasectomy, because he didn't want to risk us then, I think it was 18 months
Another
later. Yeah,
another
he didn't want
loss
to risk
or
another loss, exactly.
yeah.
So he wanted to do that for his own peace of mind and for us, to protect me in some ways as well. But that was then, that door was really, really closed at that moment in time. So I kind of felt myself dip back in, and then I did have the ability to find, childless therapists and such like. So it was easier to express the grief. And in between times as well, in addition to becoming a coach, I retrained also as a grief therapist. So there I got more and more tools to be able to, handle my grief in a way or
Yeah.
process grief as well as help other people. So yeah, so that's now, well, since 2019, it's then, yeah, basically 5 and a bit years. So yeah, so since then I've set up my grief therapy and coaching business, and I basically help other women who are childless not by choice, then move through to expressing their grief and find fulfillment in their lives again, because we're all worthy. It doesn't matter whether we've had children or not had
Yeah.
children. We're all born worthy as we are. So yeah,
You know,
pretty
you used the word my community was born and you didn't know if it's correct. And I think it is. We birth
yeah.
a lot of things that, yeah, they are not a child, they are, but we are mothers of other things.
Hmm.
I also started a community a few months ago for childless women, but after the grieving part, because I mm, I did my grief alongside my deepest anxiety period. So
Hmm.
it was a really dark time for me, and I needed a community
Like,
where I
yeah.
can talk about being happy and finding
Mhm.
joy, and that's my ring. Let I hope you're enjoying this episode. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe, follow. Okay, back to the episode.
So
So,
you were just saying, yeah, your
yeah,
your
I was
doorbell went,
selling
but
them.
yeah.
Yeah, my door, they
But you were
rang
saying
my
that
bell.
your motivation to set up happy childless mindset was to look more at the light rather than the darkness, no?
Yeah, the perks about being childless without focusing like the child-free women that are like, I have all this money, and
Mm,
sometimes I feel like there is a kind of patronizing or condescendence thing for mothers.
yeah,
And I like to see the perks, but not like, oh, my life is the best because I didn't have kids. It
yeah,
works. It's not that it's bad. Their point of view is not bad. It's not for me. I don't identify with that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah, no.
do see some of the perks being like I can do this job and I have three pets instead of no pets because I have a kid, or I don't have to
Mhm.
clean as much things. There
Yeah,
are little things, but my group focuses on that, and we also meet like once a week. And one of my members told me about doing a like a ten perks.
yeah,
We were going to talk in that in the meet on that in the meeting, and we are going to come up with the 10 better perks of being childless.
Brilliant. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
but
Because there's like it needs both sides in a way, doesn't it? There's a grief model that I like a lot, which is called the Joe grief model. And it speaks around pretty much in layman terms, it speaks around finding your trigger list, what actually like triggers you and pulls you into grief, and
yeah,
finding your glimmer list as well. It doesn't use this terminology, but let's just use it for the sake of
yeah,
things. Looking at glimmers, looking at the perks, looking at the things that are positive as well, and it's kind of given space for both, isn't it? It's then
yeah,
understanding this is a living loss. It will come up, and there's no problems with that. You're not broken if you feel the grief comes back when people start to have grandchildren, or you feel triggered in front of pregnant ladies. That's okay.
yeah,
That's fine. But also there are all these perks and there are these positive things, and I say we're all worthy no matter what. So it's then
yeah.
so
Yesterday I was recording another episode, and we talk about reframing, and something I like rewired myself was the RAS, reticular activated system.
uh-huh.
You know what it is? It's the
No,
part of your brain that looks for something to tell you that it's true, that the reality is this. Like
ah,
when you're
okay.
going to buy a car and you think, no one has
Ah,
this car,
yeah,
and you start seeing, and it's
the
like,
car vision. Yeah,
did everybody bought the same car last week? No, you wasn't just
yeah,
noticing it.
yeah, yeah,
So I started noticing child child children, babies, pregnancy, and I started like rewiring that RSI with I want to see dogs, I want to see beautiful flowers, I want to
yeah,
see, and it took me a while. I had to have a lot of compassion to myself and forgive
yeah,
myself for still noticing the things I didn't want,
yeah,
but I notice them a lot less now. It's not that they
yeah,
are completely erased, but
yeah,
it's something interesting, but you have to have a lot of patience
yeah.
and
Yeah.
forgiveness to yourself.
Yep, 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 yep. Because it's yeah. There's so much focus in the world on people that do have children, and it's like the whole world is focused on that particular area. Yet, there's people that have children that probably didn't want to have children.
Mm.
There's people that have children that did have children. And likewise, there's us who don't have children who wanted to have children. And
Yeah,
there's this other group who don't have children who didn't want to have children. And each and every one of those different areas are worthy and valuable. And
yeah,
they have their perks and they have their disadvantages as well. It's then
yeah.
so yeah.
I think
So
everything in this life is kind of has that the notion of the yin and yang, that every
exactly.
yang has yin and every yin has yang. It's just
Yeah.
our choosing to see that.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, so that's why I like this dual grief model because it kind of gives balance to both. It gives space for the grief
Yeah.
and also space for peace, joy, happiness, whatever. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I still have triggers and I sometimes need to cry or to vent or to get angry, but I acquire a lot of tools for giving it an outlet,
Yeah,
and not like
exactly.
you said, like you try to travel and I
Mhm.
I sit with that. And I
Yeah,
think it's awesome that you realize it too, because
yep.
the more we
Yeah,
try to bury that, is the more strong it comes out.
yeah. And it's one of the things that really comes up in coaching as well is to express those emotions. So,
Yeah.
if you've got anger, safely let that anger out. If you're sad, cry and but
Yeah.
but know that you're allowed to be happy too. And yeah, I don't know. I think like after my husband had the vasectomy and I'd went through a little bit more therapy, I remember just hearing this loud voice inside, and the voice was mine. So it was kind of saying, Sandra, it might be possible to be happy and not have children. And whilst that voice was like a whisper to start with. It was like I held on to that and it was like, oh, maybe it is possible. And it's looking for that possibility and it's knowing that each one of us will find it in a different way. You and I found it through coaching and therapies and those
Yeah.
type of things. And but some people will find it through gardening, other people through dogs, other people through travel, other people, whatever. So it's just like, I don't know, yeah, go off and follow the little seeds of what gives you peace. If joy feels too much, then follow that would be my
Yeah,
advice.
and a lot of people, not childless, but a lot of people think that purpose is something big, like beating cancer, not beating cancer, but curing cancer for the
Yeah,
whole world. And but
yeah,
sometimes our purpose is just help our neighbor or adopt
yeah,
a pet that really needs it or taking care of a tree. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be
exactly.
something huge. And
Exactly.
lately I've been cutting myself, like you said, your little voice that this happening
Yeah,
to me too, that you're happy in this moment.
yeah,
It's not a big happy party, it's
yeah,
like you're at peace. You have a beautiful life. It's not the one that you wanted, but you're happy now. And that's so fulfilled. I
that's
feel
beautiful,
like
Laura. Yeah.
content.
Mm. Oh,
And I want that is the motive from my podcast. I want to communicate that with your story, with mine, with a lot of other stories that I will be recording next, is we all kind of find that little
yeah,
happiness.
yeah,
Because if I could do it, everyone can. I'm not some special person and I had a really shitty childhood and upbringing,
mm,
so anyone can.
yeah. And that's a beautiful message to kind of finish up on, isn't it? Is then,
Yeah,
that then yeah, it's giving space for that. And as I say, it can be following that piece, but looking here at this moment and how can you, and sometimes it's just seeing, I don't know, a ray of sunshine or something just stopping and sitting and whatever just makes you feel less sad at this moment in time, then just
yeah.
take that. Then yeah.
Yeah, for
So
me, they are like I'm watering my plants, and my two dogs and my cat are around looking at me, and I have plants. I live in a home that a lot of people doesn't, and it's like
mm,
that is my like so simple and
yeah,
so many people take that for granted, and it's not granted. So I kind of reflect on that, and it's like, oh, my life is nice.
yeah. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry about the bell.
No problem at all.
That
My
was a funny
pleasure to
effect.
be here. Thank you for inviting me on. And yeah, all the best with your podcast and your groups and all of those things. And yeah, I look
Me
forward to
too.
to watching how everything goes.
Me too. And
Take care.
I'm so glad for you for the people's choice. You're a champion for the people, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Take care. Speak soon.
So,
Bye bye.
bye bye.